Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen, as always. And today, we're gonna make a cheesecake. Now, if you caught yesterday's video and watched till the end, you know what kind of cheesecake it is. It is a cherry cheesecake, but it's a completely different style of cherry cheesecake. It's not just your basic New York style cheesecake with a cherry topping. This does have a cherry topping. It is a cheesecake, but that's the end of the similarities. Which, if you want to see how to make a New York style cheesecake, I have the video for it. Matter of fact, I'll put it at the end of this video in the little square that's like right here or right here. It's down here at the bottom. But anyhow, this one is a Japanese style cheesecake done with a tart cherry topping, although we're going to make the tart cherry topping not tart, so to speak. It's almost like a cherry pie filling. But it's a Japanese style cheesecake, which means it's lighter, it's fluffier. It's the exact opposite of an American style, New York style cheesecake. It's not dense, it's not thick, as to my understanding. It's light, it's fluffy. It does not have a crust to it. It is served warm. This really is just a whole new outlook on cheesecake, and I can't wait to try it. So, that being said, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If this is your first video, I hope you get something out of this and I don't make a complete moron out of myself on your first go around. But if you take the opportunity to check out some of my other videos, that would be awesome. If you're returning, thank you. If you are a new subscriber, thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Helps get us in the algorithm of YouTube and allows our channel to grow. That's important. We've been growing in leaps and bounds over the last year or so, which I find amazing. I mean, I know that, having less than 400, subscribers doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot to me. It's a whole lot more than I ever thought would be interested in listening to me run my yip and or the recipes that we try together, on this channel. So, anyhow, like, subscribe, share, comments are always welcome. Be civil, be nice. It's okay to disagree. Just think before you type. And yeah, that's it. Alright, so let's get down here to the counter. I will give you all your weights and cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, along with grams. That way everybody can play along. So, hey, down to the counter. Hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we're down here at the counter. So, like I said, this cheesecake is very different than any other cheesecake I've ever made. And we've made a lot of cheesecakes on this channel. We're actually going to cook the cream cheese, which is really weird. So the first thing we're going to need is a small saucepan, or a saucepan of sorts. And in this saucepan, the only thing I'm going to put in it right at the moment is 6 tablespoons or 82 grams of butter. And I've got it cut into tablespoon size chunks. I've got it cubed. And we're also going to add 4 ounces or 112 grams of cream cheese. So, I know, right? And we're going to cook this until everything is melted in the pan, and then we can. Then we got one more thing to set to it. So let's go ahead and get this melted. All right, so we have got our butter melted, and our cream cheese is kind of melted. I've never actually cooked cream cheese in a thing before, but it looks more like cottage cheese now. So the next step that we got to do is take it off the heat, right? And I have got 2/3 of a cup, 155 milliliters of heavy cream, and I'm going to whisk this in. And it's almost at room temperature, not quite room temperature. I've been out for about a half hour. So, but I imagine the closer you can get it to room temperature, the better. And we're going to stir this in. Right, and then we're just going to stir it until it's nice and smooth and creamy, according to the recipe here, which looks like is happening relatively quickly. Once we got it smooth and creamy, which we do, now it just looks like cream. Instead of cream cheese and butter and heavy cream, it just looks like cream. So we've got that nice and combined and smooth, and we're just going to set that to the side. So the next thing we have to do is, let me move that out of the way and get you down here to the counter so you can see a little better. Sorry, I'm telling you, my skills are just horrible at camera work. Ooh. There we go. So the next thing we need to do in a small bowl is we're going to sift our flour and our cornstarch. And we have a 1/4 cup, 30 grams of flour, and a 1/4 cup, 30 grams of cornstarch. Which I did that backwards, but it doesn't matter. The point being is you want a 1/4 cup of each, 30 and 32 grams. 30 grams of flour, 32 grams of cornstarch. And we're going to sift this into this bowl. Let's go ahead and get that through there right quick. Nice. And I'm sure it's to make sure we don't have any lumps. We get a little air in the flour, and it, helps break things up a little bit. And there, like such. Give it a good quick whisk again. There we are. And we're going to set that to the side. And then in a large bowl, I am going to put, 6 egg yolks, right? 2, 4, 6. Yep, and these are large egg yolks, about 35 grams a piece. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, like such. And then I'm going to whisk those together. Like such. And right about now, they had you putting on the oven at 325 degrees right at the start, and I wasn't sure how long it was going to take to cool this cream mix down enough to, because it says to have it completely cooled in the instructions. So we're gonna beat our eggs up. I turned the oven on 325, and along with our vanilla, and then we are going to take our cream mix, which, let's test it real quick. Finger in there. I mean, it's not like room temperature, but it's warm. It's not hot. And we're gonna mix this in with the eggs. Now, I'm gonna say stir as you go, just in case you don't have your milk, your cream cheese and heavy cream mix quite cold enough. That way you don't curdle your eggs. Or you'll end up with scrambled eggs in your cheesecake, which would be kind of cool, I guess. And we'll go ahead and get that stirred up, just like such. That mixed in, then, yep, till it says till smooth, which I'm gonna say that's smooth. It's not gonna get any smoother at any rate. And then we are to add in our dry ingredients, just like such, and give those a mix until well blended. So basically until everything's wet. Okay. So at least that's my interpretation of well blended. Not necessarily, back to baby smooth, but pretty close. All right. Now we got that. And we're gonna set this to the side. I gotta get my stand mixer out real quick so we can do the last step. All right, so let me go find it, and when I come back, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, got the almighty stand mixer out, and I'm using the paddle attachment because I have learned from making cookies, icing for cookies at any rate, you can achieve pretty much anything with paddle attachment, including whipping eggs. So I'm putting a total of 12 egg whites in here. 6 of them we got from the egg yolks that we just used up. The other 6 I had to run with. I had to get rid of 6 yolks, which I just saved them to use for something later. And I'm gonna turn this on low, and once we start to get bubbles, once you start seeing more bubble than yolk, like the top's covered with bubbles, I have 3/4 of a cup or 150 grams of just regular old sugar, and I'm going to put this in, I get it right now, I'm starting to see bubbles, a teaspoon at a time, or a tablespoon at a time, and I'm going to turn it up long enough to get the sugar incorporated. Then I'm going to turn it right back down so I don't start beating my eggs up, because we want to get soft peaks out of this, but we don't want to have stiff peaks. All right, so I'm going to check our batter here right quick, and I mean we're almost there. We're going to let it run for another minute. We're at like super soft peaks, and we just want soft peaks. So we're going to let this run. It absolutely amazes me how just that little bit of egg yolk, quadruple the amount of fluff. All right, we're gonna call that good. I just another 5 seconds or so. Oh yeah, yep. So I'll show you what is meant by a soft peak here right quick. See how it stays? Oh, no, you can't. See how it's flopped right there, but it's not folded completely in on itself? That's a soft peak, all right? And the longer you go, the firmer the peak gets, and then you end up with like a meringue, which is okay too. But what we're going to do is move the ingredients list in the directions and drop some stuff. And then we will grab our bowl we just had, and we're going to take about a quarter of this and put it in here and fold it in, okay? Yeah, we're going to take it and just, go like fold the batter over top of it. But you don't want to break it down. You want to try not to break a whole lot of it down. This is what's putting the air and the fluffiness into this cheesecake. And so far, I'm just absolutely awestruck by how this cheesecake comes together. So then we take literally the remainder of our whipped topping here, our meringue, and we're going to put it in there and do the exact same thing we just did and fold it in. Okay, so we got our batter folded, still nice and fluffy, quadrupled in volume. So now we're going to put it into a cheesecake pan. Now, this was completely new for me in some ways. So we did our normal 9-inch spring pan. We have the foil on the outside, just like any other cheesecake, but the inside is completely covered in parchment paper, the sides and the bottom both. I've never done that before. We are going to water bath it, so I went ahead and got the pan. And all we gotta do is finish putting in our, well, I didn't get it all mixed up. I thought I got it all folded in there, somewhere down there at the bottom. That's all right, get it folded in there now. So all we gotta do is put our batter in there, just like such. That's really fluffy. I'm kind of excited for this. Now our oven's already up to temp, so when we turned it on was a good time. By the time we got done making our fluff and all, we'll go ahead and get this spread out, just like such. This is almost like a cheesecake married to regular cake. Yeah, it's just weird. All right, so we got that. Then we will put about 1 inch of hot water in there. Now you'll see a lot of people that will boil their water prior to. I don't, and I've never had a cheesecake fail me. So I don't know if it's just because I keep my water so hot from the get, or if it's because it's just a precaution. I don't know. But we're going to fill this up about 1 inch, or to about the halfway mark on your cheesecake. And you want to make sure that you have a pan that's deep enough, at least a 2-inch roasting pan or something of that nature, to put your cheesecake in. That way you know you have plenty of space, because your water is going to evaporate. Oops, sorry guys. That was kind of ridiculous. Your water is going to evaporate. That's just the way it is. So you want about an inch of water no matter what the cheesecake is. I always go with about halfway up. And if you are new to making cheesecakes, the foil, get the 16-inch wide foil. 12-inch works, but you have to use two sheets to cover the whole pan, and that creates a seam, and that can allow water to get into your cake, and you don't want that, not by any means. So we've got that filled, 1 inch of water. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on the center rack, and we'll talk about how long to bake this thing for and what we're doing. Oh. All right, got it in the oven. I'm gonna set the timer for 25 minutes. I know you're thinking 25 minutes, that's not long enough to cook a cheesecake. You're right, it's not. We're gonna leave it at 325 for 25 minutes, and then we're gonna turn it down. Excuse me. I think it's 280 degrees. Yeah. Then we're gonna turn it down to 280 degrees. All right, which by American cake standards is really weird. I don't know anybody that bakes anything at 280 degrees that's in the US, but anyhow, I like oddball stuff like that. But 25 minutes gets up, we're gonna turn it down to 280 degrees. We're not gonna open up the oven or anything, just turn your oven down. And then we're gonna bake it for an additional 55 to 60 minutes. Unlike a normal like a traditional cheesecake, we're not looking for it to be moist in the center, right? Shiny in the center and still lightly jiggly. We want this to be set, and we should be able to lightly touch the top and it bounce back, right? Just like a cake would. So when I come back, we will have done both those two steps. I will have checked it and we'll take a look at it. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, so I didn't think about it, but we have to make the topping. I didn't think about it when we were talking about putting that in the oven. But we're gonna make the topping, and it has to have time to cool also. So we're gonna go ahead and make the topping real quick. As this, we're here in a minute. We're getting ready to turn this down to 280 degrees. And I thought we'll go ahead and get the topping made. That way it can cool while this is finishing up, and it's 55-minute run. And we don't want to eat it straight out of the oven. It'll melt our face. But anyhow, onto the cherry topping. I have got 1/2 cup, 100 grams of just regular old sugar. I have 2 teaspoons, 20 grams of cornstarch, but I also have about 1/4 cup of cayenne pepper in there. It was a recommendation, an option on this recipe. And turn that down to 280. Boom. But it was an option on this recipe, and I thought, why not, man? That sounds awesome. So we're gonna put a little cayenne in it. It goes kind of with the Mike's Hot Honey blueberry pie we did the other day. So we got that in there. Give that a good quick mix. Get that cornstarch broken up a little bit. And then I've got 1/4 cup of cherry juice. Now, I'm using canned cherries, so I just saved 1/2 cup of the juice. The original recipe called for water, and it's based on, it just tells you can use fresh or frozen cherries. But cherries are not, I didn't see any at the store at any rate. And I know canned cherries are just as good as, fresh or frozen. So I'm gonna go ahead and run with those. But I got 1/2 cup, 150 milliliter of cherry juice. You can also just use water. And then the last thing we need to add is our cherries. I've got 2 cups of cherries. You can use fresh, frozen, or I am using canned. That's completely up to you. I don't mind canned cherries. They give a better consistency. And I like that. So we'll go ahead and gently keep this kind of moving. It's going to come to a boil, and then it'll go clear. That'll tell me that it's starting, and then it'll start to thicken up. That's where we want to be. Your juice will get clear, and it'll start to thicken, and then we just need to take it off of the heat and let it cool. All right, it'll do its thing after that. So now when I come back, we can pull the cake out of the oven and give it a look at. All right, I'll see you here in a second. And I admire the water bath is still sitting in there, but I want to bring you up kind of close so that way you can see what I'm about to show you. If you look, the cake is set. It's got a nice golden brown to it. It's still fairly warm, and when I hit it, it bounces back, but it's set, right? There's no jiggle to it, so there's no real jiggle to it, so to speak. So now, according to the recipe, I need to find my offset spatula, and I need to run it down along the side here, and I'm assuming it's to get the cheesecake off the foil. This thing is ridiculously tall, which is awesome. But we want to make sure this isn't sticking because we're going to release this hot, which I think is just another crazy talk. But it is to be served warm, and this is what the directions say. So, like I said, completely different style of making a cheesecake. And then we're supposed to release. Wow, that is freaking not cold. I would not recommend doing that at home, so to speak. Let me go grab a pan real quick, or a plate. Okay, so I'm back. I got a plate. So the next thing we need to do, before I even do that, we're going to slide it onto this plate. I just got to figure out how I'm going to grab a hold of this. I don't know where my oven glove is right at the very moment. My children like to do quite amazing things with my stuff sometimes. Oh, Abby's probably the biggest culprit of the bunch. She does so like to take stuff that belongs to me. Alright, so grab a spatula. I'm not a big fan of parchment paper on the underside, but I figured it probably deserves it if it doesn't have a crust. Alright, now I need to get that to take you off. Maybe it's not supposed to come off the parchment paper on the bottom. Well, I would think it would have to. I got it off the plate at any rate. I'll worry about getting it off that parchment paper here in just a moment. But let's take a look at what we did. There's what we did. And I can tell, I mean, it's still too hot to eat, I think. We need to give it about 10 minutes on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit and rest for a few, like about 10 minutes. And when I come back, we'll cut into it, see what we did, what we didn't do, and try a piece. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, so we let it sit and cool off a little bit and got warm. It also got flat. It started its descent when I lifted it up, I took the paper off from underneath of it, sat it down. As I sat it down, it collapsed. So, but I remember the pictures of this cheesecake and the recipe I found online. It wasn't a tall, poofy cake, so I figured it was going to go down. Although it did freak me out, but it is still warm. It's not completely cooled. It has got a really spongy texture to it, but I have no idea what it's going to taste like. It's kind of weird, only because we call it a cheesecake. But that's all right. We're going to try it all the same. It cracked, just like a cheesecake should, I guess. Well, you don't want it to, but it does. But there is what the inside of it looks like. Not much like a standard cheesecake, huh? It's got, well, you can tell it's got air in it. It's spongy. You know, there is our piece. And we can go ahead and get some of that cherry filling on there. Like that. Just so it drizzles off the side, because why not? And I can see now why you would serve this. You could serve this warm. there we are. There is our cherry pie for the ages. So now all we have to do is just give it a try, right? I know it looks good. My house smells amazing, as I kind of figured it would. Back her up here a little bit, thank you. But I have no idea what this is going to taste like. It's kind of freaking me out still a little. But it smells good and it looks good. I don't know why it wouldn't taste good. Get a little bit of that cherry on there. How interesting. It tastes like a warm pudding cake. It's good warm. That was my like, ugh. And the fact it doesn't have a crust on it is kind of cool because it's tearing apart real easy, yet it's stable. You know, want to try some? Here. That's really good. I can see where this will even be good because you refrigerate the leftovers. Definitely different though. I think it kind of threw my taste buds into overdrive because A, it was warm, it's cheesecake. I wasn't sure what to expect. But it's like a sponge meets a custard and you have this Japanese style cheesecake. That's really good. Definitely different. Really good. Give this a try. Definitely give this a try. You won't be disappointed, and don't let it freak you out if you're used to making cheesecakes and you've never made one like this, because at first it freaked me out and then I thought, no, I really want to try this. Now I'm glad I did. It's really good. So I said, give this a try. Let me know what you think, or if you try it, or if you have a similar recipe to it. You can leave me a comment down below, or you can find us on Facebook, Mr. Smith's Kitchen group. And we can discuss all that there, or yeah, wherever. So anyhow, next week, no idea. I know I'm gonna still steady be working on the patio, the awning for the patio throughout the week, and so I'll probably give you some updates on that next week. But I have no idea what we're gonna do for dinner or dessert. None, never do. So, but all the same, give this a try. I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I appreciate the time we get to spend together. I know that's one commodity you give me that you can't get back, and that just speaks millions to me. Tell somebody else you love them, that you love them very much. It's going to make them feel a whole lot better, like $1 million. It's going to make you feel a whole lot better to tell them. You make one of these Japanese style cheesecakes with the cherry topping, because that cherry topping, spot on for a topping. They're going to know that you care and that you're a good person, and it's going to lead to lots of conversation about a cheesecake that I know I've never had. So, until next week, I'll see you then. Love you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.